This video will cover the Gothic-themed White Lotus HBO series, which is full of occult, religious symbolism, sexual perversion, infidelity, alcohol, drugs, and crime, centered around the mostly American elite who attend the White Lotus resort hotels in different locations. The first season is at a resort in Hawaii, the second in Sicily, and the third in Thailand. Very bad things end up happening at these resorts. This series won 15 Emmy Awards. The lotus is sacred in the occult, revered by ancient Egyptians, and symbolic of resurrection and reincarnation. The lotus is often present in Eastern religions, which were the key influences in the Theosophical movement. White Lotus Day is a celebration of Theosophists, celebrated on May 8th, which is the anniversary of the death of Helena Blavatsky, founder of the Theosophical Society. White Lotus Day is a celebration that encourages meditation about the metaphor of the lotus. I'm going to play the intro for Season 3 of The White Lotus now. Hopefully you noticed the monkeys. A recurring spiritual theme throughout all seasons of the White Lotus is the monkeys. In occult traditions, monkeys are viewed as spirits and are used in magical practices and witchcraft. In Christian theology and iconography, monkeys can represent lust, greed, and malice and are associated with the devil and demons. In the series, the monkeys represent a type of demon and cause humans to sin. It also seems that they could be shifting into other forms of animals who also act as demons. Monkeys also represent the monkey mind in Buddhist context, referring to a restless and chaotic mind in humans. To counter this, Buddhism focuses on meditation and other mystical practices which are highlighted in these series. I will talk more about the monkeys in a minute, but first I want to talk about the theme of Buddhism in Season 3. So Buddhism has Babylonian roots because Hinduism was an offshoot of Babylonian mysticism, and Buddhism was originally a sprout from Hinduism. Buddhism is a pantheistic religion that depersonalizes God to a universal life force like Yahweh. The Buddhist monastery in the series had a Star of Remphan decorating one of the buildings in the resort in Thailand. Buddhism is also a mystical religion that embraces shamanism and interacts with spirits. Buddha is a type of false messiah. All mystical religions like Buddhism promise an age where people will only be concerned with achieving enlightenment and immortality, an age where the truth of Brahma will come from heaven and will be led by the future Buddha, Lord Maitreya. Theosophy's foundation was originally set in esoteric Buddhism. As per the Theosophist Constance Cumby, who wrote A Planned Deception, The conspiracy for a universal religion includes the installation of a world messiah, who is allegorically called Lord Maitreya, to reign over a world government, and he is the future Buddha. Now for the monkey. The monkey foreshadows impending doom events within each season. Monkeys are a theme in Gothic literature because of their resemblance to humans, their demonic influence, and their usage in pagan curses. So now I'm going to play the intro from season 1 episodes featuring more monkeys. So, the monkey also represents the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil proverb, signifying a turning of a blind eye to wrongdoing or sin. So some of the examples of monkeys as vessels for Gothic literature are Journey to the West, which is about Sun Wukong, or the Monkey King. Sun Wukong, also known as the Monkey King, is a literary and religious figure, best known as one of the main characters in the 16th century Chinese novel Journey to the West. In the novel, Sun Wukong is a monkey born from a stone who acquires supernatural strength through Taoist practices. After rebelling against heaven, he is imprisoned under a mountain by the Buddha. 500 years later, he accompanies the monk Tang Sanzang riding a white dragon horse. His inspiration came from the amalgam of influences generally relating to religious concepts beginning in 700 BC and giving rise to stories and art motifs during the Han Dynasty, eventually contributing to the Sun Wukong figure, or the Monkey King. This is a depiction of the Forbidden Temple's Sun Wukong as depicted in a scene in Peking opera. Another example of monkeys in Gothic literature is The Murders in the Rue Morgue by Edgar Allan Poe, and that plot centers around a mother and daughter who seem to have been killed by an orangutan, and the story relies upon the similarity between primates and humans and their violent tendencies. Green Tea by J. Sheridan Le Fanu. This is Asian Gothic. Green tea is a story about a tiny demonic monkey. Green tea is a drink that is ordered by a character in season 3 in The White Lotus, and the character is a Buddhist at the time of his talk and ordering the tea, but In that talk, he describes how previously he was a drug addict, then a sex addict, and then he became a transvestite, having gay sex, and so on. Green Tea is a story from 1872 collection called In a Glass Darkly, and that story is in the collection alongside a vampire story, Camilla, which is one of the earliest works of vampire fiction and highly influential as a seminal work in the lesbian vampire genre. Green Tea introduces the character of Dr. Hacilius, an occult detective who meets a clergyman, Jennings. Jennings starts seeing a specter of a small black monkey with glowing red eyes that followed him everywhere, and this began while Jennings was writing a book about ancient religions. The monkey disrupted the Reverend's life by distracting him, sitting on his religious text so as to block the words he intended to read, and hypnotizing him to make him lose his train of thought. The monkey spoke to Jennings inside his head and bombarded him with evil urges to hurt others and himself. And we see a lot of that in season 3 of The White Lotus, also, as one of the characters is intent on murdering someone at the resort. In the book, Jennings becomes convinced that this monkey is an agent of hell, and Dr. Hacilius believes that the green tea is allowing Jennings to perceive and communicate with the spiritual plane in the demonic monkey. A quote from the philosopher Emanuel Swedenborg explains that evil spirits take on an animal form that represents the lust and life of the person they correspond to. Sheridan Le Fanu, the author of The Green Tea, is an Irish English and famous for Gothic novels of the Victorian era. The next one is The Monkey's Paw. And this story's title comes from the mummified monkey paw that an old British soldier has brought back from India. The paw is said to have been cursed by a fakir, demonstrating the dangerous power of Eastern magic. The next one is The Adventures of the Creeping Man, written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, whose pen name was Sherlock Holmes. The Adventures of the Creeping Man featured a man who thought he was turning into a monkey because he was taking a drug made from monkeys. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was Order of St. John, Most Venerable Order of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem. He was a spiritual mystic, Freemason, and a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Sunset Boulevard was a Gothic movie, where the protagonist is first met in a spooky mansion by the corpse of a monkey, the pet of the owner of the mansion, whose form was a toxic relationship with the protagonist, culminating in murder. The monkey represents the ghosts of its owner's past husbands, drawing that tie of being close to human and yet not. The Athelhampton House in Dorchester, England, is said to be one of the most haunted houses in the UK, and it has Tudor Gothic architecture. It has a monkey listed as one of its ghosts. The ape was part of the family crest and is featured in a stained glass window, and in a historic photo of the court gate, you can even see that 2 ape statues flank the gate. So then in season 3 of The White Lotus, we learn that the man who marries the heiress, who is characterized as a homosexual, actually works for the government, for the Bureau of Land Management. And this is actually the organization that is displacing all the locals of the different filming locations from all the season series in Hawaii, Sicily, and Thailand. So that should sound familiar. Now I'm going to play the intro for season 2 episodes, which are set in Sicily. Hidden hand. See the hidden hand? Flashes by really fast. Alright, so season 2 takes place in Sicily. One of the filming locations is Palermo in Sicily. The plot centers around the planned murder of an American heiress to a fortune. The Europeans plot to murder her by arranging her to marry a homosexual man so that he will inherit her money and use it to pay for his lover's family villa in Sicily that is in disrepair. Earlier in the season, one of the characters who's visiting from America says that the European elites live this way, where they have the family mansions but no money. So Palermo is the capital of Sicily, and it's over 2,700 years old. The city was founded in 734 BC by the Phoenicians, then became a possession of Carthage. The town became part of the Roman Republic, an empire for over 1,000 years. One of the episodes featured the Palermo Opera House. I've done other videos regarding the opera, basically explaining that it is the theater of the elite royals or god-king bloodliners, portraying their polytheist history and religion, honoring the fallen angels, like everything else they do. Kind of like a continuation of Greek theater, which has also continued throughout the Roman Empire and into the modern day in all different forms of media. Opera also incorporates the symphony orchestra and the ballet, which are also art forms enjoyed by the royals who honor the fallen angels. This is the Opera House in Palermo, Sicily, which is where one of the scenes takes place. It's the third largest in Europe. It's called the Theater Massimo Vittorio Emanuele, and it's an opera house located in Palermo, and it was dedicated to Victor Emmanuel II. It's the largest in Italy and the third largest in Europe after the Palais Garnier in Paris, renowned for its perfect acoustics. So it was created for Victor Emmanuel II, who was King of Sardinia from 1849 to 1861. In 1861, he became King of Italy. Borrowing from the Old Latin of Roman emperors, the Italians gave him the epithet of Father of the Fatherland. Vittorio Emanuele belonged to the House of Savoy, a powerful family that reigned over the Kingdom of Piedmont of northwest Italy. So, here are all of his orders. Okay, notice that he has the Order of the Golden Fleece, which is one that Gary Wayne always talks about. His tomb is in the Pantheon of Rome. But the largest opera house in Europe is the one in Paris. And it has a statue of Apollo on the roof. A commenter posted Revelation 9:11. It reads, "And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon." The Palais Garnier was built for the Paris Opera from 1861 to 1875 at the behest of Emperor Napoleon III. The Paris Opera is the primary opera and ballet company of France, and it was founded in 1669 by Louis XIV, the Sun King. Here, the first professional theatrical ballet company emerged. Louis XIV even performed at that ballet as the Sun King, Apollo, kind of like Sun Wukong or the Monkey King featured at that opera in Peking that I covered earlier, and I'm sure they are a reference to the same deity, just represented differently in different cultures. Classical ballet arose with the Paris Opera, as the Paris Opera Ballet has remained an integral and important part of the company. And its origins are in 15th century aristocratic, influenced by Catherine de' Medici, another high bloodline family. Aristocratic money was responsible for the initial stages of the development of the court ballet, as it was royal money that dictated the ideas, literature, and music used in ballets that were created to primarily entertain the aristocrats of the time. The first formal court ballet ever recognized was staged in 1573 in true form of royal entertainment, commissioned by Catherine de' Medici to honor Polish ambassadors who were visiting Paris upon the accession of Henry of Anjou to the throne of Poland. The House of Bourbon and Anjou are grafted bloodlines, and the Bourbons are the Louis, like the 13th and the 14th. Another opera house in Sicily is the Theater Politeama, and it also has Apollo on the roof. And there he is. In one of the scenes from season 2 of The White Lotus, they visit the Greek theater of Taormina in Sicily, which stood about 300 BC. The grandfather in The White Lotus tells his son and grandson characters, as a matter of fact, that this is where Persephone was dragged to hell. He does not present that as mythology, but rather as fact. In ancient Greek mythology and religion, Persephone is the daughter of Zeus and Demeter. She became the queen of the underworld after her abduction by her uncle Hades, the king of the underworld, who would later take her into marriage. The myth of her abduction, her sojourn to the underworld, and her cyclical return to the surface represents her functions as the embodiment of spring. In the movie The Matrix, the Merovingian came to the Matrix long ago with his wife Persephone. The Hall of Mirrors in the Royal Genoa Palace in Italy has a statue of Hades at the end of it, and it's titled The Rape of Proserpina, who is akin to the Greek Persephone and her abduction by Hades. But the main thing to keep in mind about the people who follow these religions of the fallen angels is that they hate Jesus. In the White Lotus season 1, they say, "Jesus Christ, I hate him," but it's in a very sneaky way. Like one person says Jesus Christ like they're swearing in response to a situation, and then another person says right after that, "I hate him." But this is something we see done in media all the time, where they illustrate their hate for Jesus. Thanks for listening.